Many citizens in Cuba are protesting against the communist government for their lack of freedom, the collapse of the economy, and their handling of the COVID-19 pandemic. Now the protests have erupted in the United States and in my hometown of Miami, Florida. Joining us now is Miami Mayor Francis Suarez. Good morning, Mayor. How are you?
Good morning, Mercedes. Good to see you.
Great to see you. Can you help explain what is fully going on in Cuba and why the citizens of Cuba are protesting?
We're seeing something that's unprecedented, Mercedes, in the history of the Castro dictatorship. In 60 years, we've never seen such a spontaneous uprising that, by the last count, was in over 40 cities and towns in Cuba. People have lost their fear because of desperation. They want freedom. They've been desperate for freedom. They don't have any food. They don't have any medicines. And they realize that the time is now. And so I think the Castro regime and the Cuban government was completely caught by surprise. They immediately tried to shut down the internet. And we continue to get images like the one that you're showing right now on the screen that shows the Cuban police and the Cuban military taking out repressive actions and reprisals against those who are protesting peacefully. And unfortunately, this is what we've become accustomed to in Cuba. But now, for the first time, because of social media, the world gets to see the brutality of the Cuban government.
But Mayor, let me ask you, because we saw this in 1980 with El Mariel, where we saw so many Cubans come over in rafts. We've seen the protests that happened in 1994. You and I know this, okay? We've had our families that have lost everything in the Cuban regime. We have had families separated. But the reality is, the Cuban people don't have arms. The people don't have any way to really defend themselves and what I would say overthrow the Cuban government. I mean, what is your response to that? Don't you think this is not going to be sustainable long term?
You know, that's a very good point. And the problem is that any country in a modern day world has armaments of war. And it's very difficult for the population, absent some essentially a military coup where the military turns against the country itself and is in favor of the people and the future destiny of the country. Absent something like that, and in countries like Cuba and Venezuela, they know what they're doing. They try to keep their military happy by, of course, having them at the upper echelon of the economic spectrum, so they take care of them. But absent some sort of military coup, the Cuban people are completely and utterly defenseless. They have absolutely no way to defend themselves. They're trying to defend themselves with rocks and sticks against guns and tanks. I mean, it's an absolutely unfair fight. And absent some sort of outside intervention by the United States or some coalition of countries, it doesn't look like it's going to be possible for the Cuban government to overthrow the Cubans to overthrow the Cuban government.
But Mayor, you know this. I mean, we're talking about a weak president right now, Mr. Biden, President Biden. And the Biden administration so far, they did respond standing with the Cuban people. But we know that this is not going to go very far. So what do we do in terms of your sense of how you think the Biden administration has responded thus far, while so many members from his party actually support the communist regime?
Yeah, I mean, and sometimes in some of the statements, well, first of all, a lot of them haven't made any statements. The ones that have made statements refuse to use the word communism and call it what it is, which I'm not sure why the Democratic Party has such a hard time calling communism for what it is and for the terror that it has inflicted and the destructive capacity of it over decades and decades. I think that's number one. Number two, I think what the former president did in Venezuela, President Trump, was he created an international coalition to recognize the Guaido government, something that, many countries may not have taken leadership on. And I think the third thing you have to consider is, President Bush did a surgical strike in Panama to get Noriega out and reinstalled and allowed for peaceful democratic elections. And Panama has become a thriving democracy ever since. So those are things that need to be considered as part of the plan. And I'm not sure that they are.
That's a great point. Well, we want to thank you for your leadership and keep us posted on what's happening down in Miami and in Cuba. Thank you for joining us, Miami Mayor Francis Suarez.
Thank you, Mercedes.
For more on the economic and civil unrest in Cuba, let's bring in Senior Fellow at the Heritage Foundation and someone who left Cuba at the age of 12, Mike Gonzalez. Buenos dias. Good morning.
Hi, Mercedes. How are you?
Good. Well, Mike, this is something that I think you and I completely understand, something that we've been watching for a long time with this hope of a Cuba Libre. So thousands of Cubans took to the streets on Sunday, shouting slogans against the government, such as "We want freedom" and "We are no longer afraid." As someone who spent a part of their life there, what do you make of these protests?
Well, Mercedes, I was quite surprised that it happened. As you well put in your conversation with Mayor Suarez, the Cuban people have a real reason to fear. Their fear is well grounded. If you speak out in Cuba, if you do anything that the regime does not allow, there are real dire consequences. You get thrown into dungeons. Your stay there is not, it's not going to be good. Bad things will happen to your family. And as we're seeing overnight, the regime is just now rounding up people. There are reports of people being killed. We see people being beat up by the police. I was surprised that it happened at all. This is completely unprecedented. What happened in '94 was limited to Havana. This has happened now in at least 40 cities. This is thousands of people, and this was spontaneous, completely spontaneous, sparked off by the government's botched-up response to COVID-19, of course, but then it turned into a pro-freedom movement. They're crying out for libertad, as you see. And it's unpredictable where it will go from here.
And they're carrying the Cuban flag, the American flag, something that even our own Olympic members don't care for. But let me ask you a question here. Cuban dictator Miguel Díaz-Canel is now claiming that a U.S. embargo is the reason for the widespread shortage of food, fuel, medicine, and other goods during the pandemic. What do you make of Cuban leadership passing the blame onto the U.S., which we know is not surprising in any way?
They're not even speaking to their own people. Their own people know that it's not true. They're speaking to Ben Rhodes and Michael Moore and the squad and the liberals in this country who either buy into the stuff, who do believe it, or will use it anyway to call for an end to the sanctions because they want to throw this thuggish, brutal government a lifeline to warm up relations now, to end the sanctions that President Trump started, would be to throw these thugs a lifeline, as I said. And this should not happen. So when Díaz-Canel says this, by the way, Díaz-Canel himself is a puppet, a figurehead president. The people really calling the shots are still the Castro family. He is not. Nobody in Cuba buys that. That's the reason why they're taken to the streets. Cuba can trade with anyone, with Canada, with Mexico, with Europe. This is not going to at all sell in Cuba.
Well, we got to have hope, Mike, but I got to tell you, it's tough to watch, but we have to also believe that there might be a way that the Cuban people can figure out a path towards freedom in their country that we've all longed for so long. But thank you, Mike Gonzalez, so much for joining us.
Thank you. The best way we can help the people of Cuba is by remaining free ourselves. Let's fight Marxism here as well.
Hey, I'm Rob Finnerty. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please join the conversation in the comments below. Don't forget to subscribe, too. Hit the bell icon to be alerted to breaking news. And remember, there's a whole lot more on Newsmax TV, America's fastest growing cable news network. Newsmax TV, we're real news for real people.